Welcome back to the Dinking Divas. We're happy you're here today, and this is our holiday episode. I'm Chris Yoder, and I'm hopeful that given the tips that we've shared over the last several episodes, that you've made your way to the Kingsbury courts and checked out what we're so excited about.
And I'm Monica Canoe, and I want to thank all my friends and family for all the support as we've been filming these episodes, and we had a lot of fun. And thank you to DC TV for all your guidance and patience with us. Also, a huge congratulations to my friend Julie Mast, and who was the winner of last month's tip of the month with the word stay. And she got a great pair of pickleball socks and a jar of pickles, and they are headed her way if she hasn't already received them.
Awesome. We also wanted to share some of the happenings at the Kingsbury courts. The lights are up if you have not been out to play. Now that it's getting darker earlier, with the time change, the lights will be on a timer, a 2-hour timer, so you can set that timer and play for a couple hours, reset it if you're there longer than 2 hours. So that'll give us an opportunity to play we play well into Christmas. I mean,
yeah.
If it's above 30 and it's not windy, we're still outside playing. We just enjoy the outdoors and like to be out there and play even when it's cool. So once you get moving, you'll warm right up.
And the city's been really good about waiting till we give them a heads up that they're ready to come down.
Yep, and they'll leave the
play.
nets up as long as we want, as long as we ask them to.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things that we'll be putting at Kingsbury is benches on the far side of the courts. We had 2 generous donors that came forward, the Defiance Eagles and an individual from our group that helped fund 3 new benches. So those have been ordered. We'll probably not see those on the courts until spring, but that'll give us some additional space and additional seating as have been requested by some community members.
Great. Last month also, or last episode in October, I talked about our pickleball at the Senior Center and our ambassadors. And it has been an overwhelming favorite of the seniors that are going there and have asked us to continue. So we are continuing to do pickleball at the Senior Center through the month of November. And they are so committed that they have bought their own net and their own rackets. So
Awesome.
I see that continuing far into the future because we've got them hooked now. So if you are looking for some beginning play, and you are 60 plus, head out to the Senior Center and check that out.
Awesome.
On a bigger scale, I want to mention, first of all, one of my favorite restaurants, which I haven't actually been there, but I know I would like it, is the Chicken and Pickles restaurant. It's a new franchise that opened in 2017 with 7 locations. They are doubling their output of restaurants and are going to be opening more by 2025. They're going to be doubling over the next year and a half.
Sounds like a road trip.
Sounds like we might have to go to Texas or Missouri or Oklahoma, but we're up for it, I think. So
Indiana.
Indiana.
Indiana's an option too.
And hoping that if anyone out there from Chicken and Pickles sees us,
Yes.
hey, we want one too. So
Yes.
we'll even go to Toledo if we have to. But bring it to Defiance.
Absolutely.
Also, if you are saying no over the holidays, I really need to get into a tournament because like all of us, we all overeat on those sweets over the holidays. There is a pickleball tournament in Cleveland, Ohio called Taking Over the Land, and that's December 15th through 17th, and it's expected to be one of the largest pickleball events in the Midwest. So check that out. Even if you can't play and you're in the Cleveland area over that time, go for it. So if you're interested, I would just click on Pickleball Taking Over the Land, and you should find it. If you want to be a little closer to home, Findlay is only an hour away, and their Y is having a fundraiser pickleball tournament, a men's and women open pickleball doubles tournament. And that's going to be December 16th from 2 to 5, and it says that if you are a member of the Y, you will get a discount for your entry fee. So
Wonderful.
I think that seems like it would be a good tournament, especially if you haven't been in too many. This would be a nice beginner tournament
start.
to go to. So those are my news updates.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're excited to share a quick recap of episode 3 and then what we have coming next after we talk about a few fundamentals. We talked about serving and scoring. We talked about the kitchen line. We talked about everything you need to start play. We've shared that in the last couple episodes. So now that you've hopefully been on the courts, later in this episode, we're going to talk about fine-tuning your play and what that looks like.
So we're going to be talking about things like stance, like how you should actually be standing waiting to receive the ball and what stance you should get back into. Talking about positioning, so where you should find yourself on the court. So even after you go after a ball, where you need to get back to,
Recenter,
recentering, what your stance should look like. We're going to be talking about your paddle swing. One of our friends taught us a good paddle swing, you should be able to fool the other opponent. They should not know, are you going to lob? Are you going to dink? Are you going to drive? Because that paddle swing initially looks the same for all three. So if you are holding your paddle right and swinging it right, that will give you a good advantage. Court awareness. That means also not only you and your positioning, but where are your opponents? Do you see them at the back line? If they are, maybe you should dink it. Are they both up front? Maybe this is a good time for lob. Did they both chase a ball? So be aware of everybody on the court, even your partner.
Yep.
If your partner has gone for a dink and she's way over to the one side, maybe you should center more to help cover her area as well. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk about happy feet. Now this is something that I have struggled with. I think I've gotten better. One of the gentlemen who plays with us, I call him Coach, he tells me, you have more time than you think you have. And so we're going to talk about that, getting those feet under control and not rushing. I still do it sometimes. I run the ball.
I do the same thing.
So to calm those happy feet down. And finally, we are so fortunate to have the Donaldsons with us today. And Sarah Donaldson, in my opinion, is one of the best third drop shot people we have. And that's a dreaded shot for all of us, but she's going to teach us how to do it right. And so we will be looking at that as well.
Yeah. So we're excited to have Brian and Sarah Donaldson here with us today. They're seasoned pickleball players, very experienced. They've played in tournaments. So we're excited to have them here to share with you a little bit about their techniques and how they've improved on the courts and hear some of their background and history. So hang with us for a few more moments and we'll be right back with Brian and Sarah Donaldson. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, here we are on the court. We're seeing some of our local players. We found Tony Thompson. Hi, Tony.
How you doing?
Good. We'd like to know, what piece of advice do you wish you had been given as you started pickleball?
When I first started out, I would have loved to have been able to learn how to do the short game and dinking and so on. So that would have been really helpful to me.
Now you're becoming a master at it, and
Trying.
makes the game, doesn't it?
Yes.
Thanks
very
for
much so.
stopping in for a moment with us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're at Kingsbury Park this afternoon, and we are here with Brian and Sarah Donaldson from Continental, Ohio. We're excited to have them here today and want to talk to them a little bit about their pickleball experience. And please share with us, how did you get started in pickleball?
So our first experience with pickleball is actually from Mr. Baxter's junior high class. So at Continental, when Mr. Baxter was our PE teacher, we did play pickleball. We had the wooden paddles, and so it was a little intense. But then her grandma actually started getting us back into it after we.
Yeah, my grandma moved to Florida, and they play all the time in Florida. So we went down there to visit her, and she was playing, and we kind of picked it up and then liked it. So.
The rest is history.
Yep.
Yeah, when she came back, it was actually during COVID, and there wasn't a whole lot to do. So as a Mother's Day gift, we cleaned out our whole barn and put a pickleball court in our barn, and that's kind of, ever since then, that's something we can do together.
That's awesome. And it's awesome that you guys get to play in your barn whenever you want to play.
Right.
How often do you play in your barn?
We probably play in the summer multiple times a month. It's not a heated barn, so we have friends, Scott and Stephanie Keck, who come out, and the kids play together, and they play with us all the time. So it's a couple times a week during the summer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good. I've actually been to the barn once, and it's really kind of cool to see this pickleball floor, court, net set up. So way to be ingenious.
Yes. Oh, that's
Can't
awesome.
do your lob shots.
Yeah, that's right.
It's okay. You can work on those outside.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, if you have any other indoor places that you're playing or you have comments about it, please reach out and send that to us on our Facebook page, because we're always looking for indoor places to play for larger groups.
Awesome. Yes. So we also heard that you run a pickleball league. tell us a little bit about that and how that got started.
Yeah, so this was kind of on the same lines of when we put the court in our barn. I texted some of my friends from Continental, married couples, and we did like a couples league. And it started during COVID, and there wasn't really a whole lot to do. So on Sundays, we would get together, and the kids got a chance to interact with each other, and the adults got a chance to be active together. And it kind of snowballed from there. So the first year, I think we had 8 or 10 teams. And last year, we had 14 teams, and we kind of changed the concept to be more like Major League Pickleball's setup, where you're paired up with another couple and you play a guys match, a girls match, and a couple mixed matches too. So trying to keep it innovative and fun for everybody.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
It does really sound great. I've seen some leagues online. I'm thinking, oh, that's maybe something we could do in the winter, to do something a little different. Always trying to do different tournaments or leagues or activities.
Get people involved.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, one last question from me. So you have twin boys. How do you balance playing with your family? And do we have 2 future pickleball stars in line?
I think they think so, for sure. They do good. They're still 6 though, so it's a little bit hard to tell how good they are yet. But we just kind of think of it as this is our kind of practice. And then, I mean, they're in soccer and basketball and other activities. So certain nights they have practice, and certain nights our pickleball, we call it our practice. And we're lucky to play with a couple other younger couples that have younger kids, and honestly they like coming here as much as we do because they get to see Demi and JC and all their friends. So
well, we've seen these boys out on the court, and honestly they play better than some of the beginner players that come out, so you're doing a great job with them.
Seriously, the way they return the ball, like
absolutely.
They're very competitive. I think that's one thing too. We're pretty competitive, and they're very competitive, so they like to push themselves to get better, and it's a fun thing for us to do as a family, active wise. So.
Yeah, we assume by the time they're like 12, 13, they're just going to beat us, and it won't be any
Oh,
fun.
oh yeah. May not even take that long.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty good though.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get a sneak peek of the boys later in the episode.
That's right.
that'd be great. So Defiance Pickleball Group is a relatively new group, and as we were working on some of these episodes, I was thinking about you as a couple because you've been participating in some tournaments lately, and most of our members are a little shy yet to do that. They're reserved, they're not sure they're ready for it. So I guess my question is, I'm going to kind of give a broad question and you can answer it. How did you decide when you're ready to enter a tournament? How do you decide what tournament you chose to go into first? So let's go there first.
Okay. So, I mean, there's a bunch of websites like usapickleball.com. You can go out and kind of rate yourself. I mean, pickleball, you're usually rated on your skill from 3 all the way up to 5 and above for the professionals.
Right.
This was a couple years ago. Like I said, we're pretty competitive, so we wanted to kind of see how we sat against others, and we played in Columbus.
For our first tournament, yes.
Yeah, so, and we decided, we were like, oh, we sound like we're at 3.5. So we did a 3.5 tournament, and we got absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely a
Yeah.
learning experience
It was.
there.
So it was. I mean, we were good enough to play kind of the fast game, but we didn't know the technical side of it with dinking and controlling everything. It is a different type of game than rec play. There's targeted play, obviously, where I think there was a couple games where, I mean, they hit the ball towards the female because we play co-ed all the time. So it's getting used to that type of play. But for us, it was a learning experience. And since then, we've gotten in a couple other ones and have done a lot better since then.
And I think it helped us because we started playing, we came here and we also play in Lima on sometimes. And, when we're on vacations, we'll always find a pickleball court, and it helps you to figure out where you should be placed on like the 3-0, 3-5, 4-0 level to play against, a variety of people. And then you can kind of rate yourself a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be tough because you don't know where you are until you get in a tournament to stack up against other players at 3-0, 3-5, 4.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You don't know
sense.
what you don't know. So if you're thinking about it, I would say just go ahead and do it. Have fun. Start with the local ones. I mean, I know you guys have sponsored a couple through the Pickleball Club here in Defiance. Leipzig had a local one. Lima had a local one too. So I would say start with the local one before you do like the sanctioned events. I know in Columbus and Toledo usually have some bigger events that are sanctioned by USA Pickleball, and they're a little more intense and a little more competitive. But at the end of the day, it's all for fun and to see how you stack up against others. And so I would encourage you, to start with the local ones first.
And I think it'll be easier on your wallet too. Would you not agree?
It would be a lot easier to start locally,
Yeah.
yes.
Some of those sanctioned ones, you do have to be a member of USA Pickleball, and that there's a yearly membership fee for that. Now you do get like newsletters and things like that sent to you via email and everything, which is really nice. But it is a little more expensive to do those.
Sure.
If say we decide to enter, what advice would you give people who've not done one of these bigger tournaments before? Like when you got there, did you have what you needed? Did you wish you had brought some other stuff? What advice or what obstacles did you find?
I think for me, the biggest thing I noticed between rec and tournament is I don't usually bring a towel. I don't think that's a big deal. And I don't know for tournaments, whatever it is, just because they're usually in the summer, it gets hot, is I would definitely recommend bringing a towel and a hat. Just because you really don't, unless you played on those courts before, you really don't know how it's set up or where the sun's going to be.
Makes sense.
And lots of water.
Lots of water.
I mean,
A change of shirt if you sweat like me.
Yeah, they have. But yeah, because it's usually an all-day event, so you're definitely going to need water, snacks, which a lot of tournaments provide some kind of snacks. Normally, Gatorade. But.
Great. I think. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we hit the courts? As our guest speakers, they have volunteered to help us refine some of our play. So if you remember last episode, we talked about serving and scoring and just basic general getting you started. But now we're going to try to refine some of those by talking about stance, talking about positioning, happy feet. And Sarah, in my opinion, has the best third shot drop of anyone that plays here. So
Yeah, don't tell that to Brian. He's
No, she does.
so she's gonna share with us a good way to try to conquer that move,
Yeah.
which some people say can't be done.
It's because in tournaments, they always hit to the girl, so I've just had that much more practice.
So stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Thank you. Welcome back, and we want to thank the Donaldsons for their insights and giving us some history on their pickleball background. So now we're going to talk about a little bit about what actually makes you a better player. It's time to work on those things. So Brian and Sarah, talk to us a little bit about stance and what an offensive and a defensive stance might look like on the court.
Sure. So when we play, I always like to start on the right square, and my wife's always in the left square. So on offense, if we're serving, we're going to be behind the white line, and then you start the serve in the right square, and then after the serve, we stay back because you have to that second drop. You have to let the two bounce rule, right? So we both stay back after the serve, up on our toes, and paddle out in front of you, ready to.
I think that's a common problem I know that I found in myself is serving and stepping forward instead of serving and staying put or stepping back, waiting for that ball to come back to me.
Right.
Yeah, I get caught on that too, and usually when I serve, I'm actually a little bit further back, so that way I can still take my step and I'm still back further. The only other thing I add is depending on what side you're on and like I'm right-handed, so a lot of times if I'm in this square, especially when Brian serves, I'm almost all the way over by the line. That way when balls are returned to me, I have a better chance of hitting with my forehand versus if I have to try to go backhand. And as I get more comfortable with my backhand, I might come a little bit further over, but most of the time, I'm over here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My next question is on paddle swing. Let's talk a little bit about paddle swing when you're dinking, when you're driving, when you're dropping, and what that looks like. Is it the same in all situations? Does it look different for you? How do you do that?
So ideally, your paddle swing looks the same no matter whether you're hitting it far, long, or short. It also kind of depends on what you're trying to do with the shot too. A lot of times, if you're back and your opponent's back and you want to hit it deeper, I'll step into it and kind of finish higher, because if you go low to high, that puts that top spin on the ball, which kind of helps it from going too far out. So obviously, I'm not the best at this point. But that's one thing that I try and do when the other team's back.
Yep.
And yeah, since I tend to drop it a little bit more than I drive, just because I don't have the strength like some of the guys do. I mean, most of the time, if I'm hitting back here, I'm hitting, sideways onto the ball versus up at the net. You're more square to the net. And I probably do have a little bit more difference in my swing. If I'm trying to drop it, you know, you're not swinging as hard as you can, you're just kind of following through, and you want to follow high, basically in the direction that you're trying to drop the ball. So,
Yeah.
Great. I want to talk a little bit about positioning, and then I want to get you up to the net here. But for positioning, as you said, Brian, you need to stay back after the serve. At what point do you decide you're going to move? Do you run right to the kitchen? What do you do?
I mean, ideally you want to get to the kitchen as fast as you can, but a lot of times you can get handcuffed. So if I hit the ball and I run to the kitchen and they hit the ball here, then you're kind of in no man's land. You get handcuffed or whatever. So a lot of times you want to move together with your partner and try and move up at the same time. But also when the ball is coming, you need to stop to set your feet to hit the ball. Because if they hit the ball and I'm hitting it while I'm moving forward, there's a greater chance that ball is going to go all the way out and out of bounds. So when you're coming up and the ball is coming to you, you kind of want to set your feet, hit it, and then keep coming up.
Makes sense.
yeah, I think and we've played together quite a few times, so I can kind of read if Brian's going to drive it or drop it, or if I'm going to try to drive it or drop it. But if your partner drives the ball, so if they hit it hard, you know, at the other team, not necessarily trying to land it into the kitchen at all, you would want to stay back. Now, I don't usually stay as far back as behind the line. Maybe I'm here. But if I'm trying to drop it, then I kind of gauge how good my drop is, and I might take a step up or two. I think we kind of talked about this a little on the drive here, that a lot of times when I drop it or Brian drops it, you know, if your drop's not perfect on the first time, you know, you can keep dropping it, and you know, every now and then it'll take me 3 drops before we can work all the way up to the net. You just kind of have to be patient with it as you move forward.
That's a piece of advice I usually give people too, because the general rule is, oh, you serve, you got to get to the kitchen. Well, sometimes you have to earn your way to the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always immediate to the kitchen. Sometimes, like you said, you got to work your way up to it. What about sharing this court? Like, how do you share the middle? I'm going to give you a broad question. When do you cover for your partner? How do you do that?
So a lot of that kind of depends. I mean, we play together a lot, obviously, so you can tell, you know, I know what shot she's going to get and what I'm going to get. A lot of times the middle shot we usually give to the forehand. You have a little more control with your forehand. So if it's closer to the middle, I'm going to usually defer to the forehand as opposed to trying to hit a backhand on it. Other than that, typically when we're both at the kitchen and we get lobs over top of us, we try and do the counter. So if we're both up at the net and the lob goes behind Sarah, I usually try and come over here and she'll cover me, and I'll try to get to the back, and then I'll work my way back up front again. Same way as if the lob's over on my side, I'll step over to the left side of the court and she'll go behind me and get it there.
Now, have you both played together long enough that you don't even have to say that to each other? You just know what you're going to do? Or are you saying yours, mine, go?
I think we say you a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know that we usually say mine, but we say you quite a bit.
And we're still working on the communication thing from time to time.
I love to play. I need to be better at communicating when I'm playing, but I love it when other people do that. It's a good reminder, like, oh, I need to do that, like yours, mine, or got it, or something. Yeah. Because when it drops in the middle, those are the ones that are so frustrating to me when I'm playing, that we're not communicating and I'm not getting those.
Yeah, and then sometimes too, like depending on where we're at in the square. I mean, as a guy, I have a little more power than Sarah does, so I can put some winners away a little better. So if it's a high ball that I feel like I can get, I will step in front of her and poach from her. Yeah. And I hope it goes in, because if I don't, I'll hear about it on the way home.
Poach is okay as long as you've got it.
Well, the other thing is you have to know the abilities of your partner.
Yes.
You know, for example, my husband, he's not great at being fast. And so if it's a quick dink or I can usually get to it. Mm-hmm. But yes, if it needs power and put away, he can take those. Mm-hmm. So to know the strength of each of you and use them in the most effective way is a good idea.
Right.
And I think we might have already talked about this, but like centering and resetting, you know, when you're running around back or when you're switching sides, like do you just naturally know, like, to go back and recenter if you're covering in the back or you're switching sides? Do you automatically do that?
Most of the time, if it's lobbed over me, at this point, I know to kind of step over to the middle because he's going to cover. But then after that, it kind of, whether he says stay or switch, that's some of the things we say sometimes. So it just kind of depends on what he does with it afterwards and how that works.
Since we got you up closer to the line now, can you show us your stance when you're on the line? So you've moved up, you're on the line. Where should your paddle be? Where should your feet be? How should you be holding that paddle?
Yeah, so typically you want to have your paddle out in front of you. That way you can kind of get either side of where they hit the ball. I personally like to stand a little farther back from the kitchen line, because if I hit the ball and even just that much of my toes on the kitchen line, that's a fault for the other team. So I have big feet, so I like to stay back a little bit. And also that kind of gives me that chance to kind of step forward if I need to, because I don't want to step in the kitchen unless it bounces, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, and I pretty much the same thing. I usually stay a little bit further back. Since I'm a little bit shorter, it does kind of help at the net sometimes, because I can hit some of the lower shots. If I squat down, I can get these shots and still drive them forward. So
that's the other thing too, when you're in the firefight here, you're squat down, they call it the scorpion position if you read about some pickleball. You don't always try and hit it back, you're kind of just deflecting it back to get to unless you get the opportunity to kind of put some force on it. But when you're in those firefights, you're just trying to either slow it down with a good drop or get it past them, either in the middle or where they're not.
Could you mention too, like how you should be standing on your feet? Do you know are you up on your toes? Are you?
Yeah, so you want to be on your toes. You don't want to be flat-footed. That way, in case they do hit one, you're able to move and from side to side for those side dinks and everything like that.
Yeah, I think it's easier, especially if you're just dinking and you're not, you haven't gotten to where you're fast, up here yet. I usually, even if the ball doesn't come to me, I'm still going to move just a little bit and adjust to where it goes. And I think it helps not to just be stuck here watching, basically. I'm not just standing here all the time. But obviously, like, I coach a lot of different sports. So obviously on your toes, I feel like it's just a natural, like any sport you play, you want to be able to react.
They say you can move
quicker.
faster.
Yeah.
Like, I read a little thing. Think of your feet as hot lava. So you want to be kind of, and sometimes I think I've said this in another episode, I'll jump a few times to remind myself. And I was actually kind of happy. I looked at the bottom of my shoes the other day, and they're actually finally wearing at the toe and not my heel. Yeah, not my heel.
The other thing Sarah kind of alluded to too is like when the ball, like we also position ourselves side to side. It's called shadowing. So if the ball is hit over to like Monica's side, we're going to kind of take a step over this way. She's going to take a step over here to take away your sideline shot here. Because and I'll be able to tell, yes, that's going to be in, I should hit it back, or no, that's out, I should let it fly. In the same way, if the ball is going to be over on Chris's side of the court, Sarah's going to be taking away that sideline, I'm going to be here, because I can still take a step over here and get a shot over here. They just call that kind of shadowing a little bit. I mean, we don't overexert ourselves, because then you open the court up, obviously. But you do try and take away some of the angles and make it a tougher shot on your opponent.
So I'm hearing all of these different tips, and I'm thinking when I get out on the court, I'm always trying to think of all of the different things that I need to remember, communicate and resetting and, moving up and dinking. When you're on the court, have you played long enough that you're not going through all of these things, or like what's going through your mind when you guys are on the court and you're in a competitive match?
I think at this point, a lot of the stuff like the shadowing is fairly natural. If the ball, and once you start dinking, you can kind of get a feel of where they're dinking. But if it's dinked over here, I might take one step over. If they dink it over there again, it kind of pulls you over. And like I said, I like to try to move on every dink. That way I'm not ever caught flat-footed. And then, if the ball is played across, we can kind of pull across easier. But I don't know that most of the time, I just try to decide based on, especially once we start back, did they have a long return to me? If it's longer, I tend to try to drop it. If they would ever have one that hits mid-court to where I think I can come up, then I'll drive those. So it's just I feel like it just kind of depends on the situation. But usually I just think of what shot should I make and go off there.
You guys are great at anticipating. Like, I mean, I've watched you play, and just your court awareness, and just expecting what's to come next based on your opponents. Like, you guys are awesome at that.
Yeah. I think you just get that from playing. So.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for the topic that nobody wants to tackle, and it's the third drop shot. And I'll say it over and over, Sarah, I think you're great at it, and I've been victim to it many a times. Tell us how you do your third drop shot.
So like I said, it kind of depends on, and this is, we've been playing for 4 years now. And I'm going to say every year I feel like I get better at it. So it's not like it's been a 6-month process in trying to do this. It definitely takes practice, but I think for the most part, like I said, if it's a longer return, I'm able to step into it. I prefer to drop across, just because it gives you like a wider landing area. If I try to drop forward, a lot of times it'll either end up being too high, or I pull it too much and it's going out of bounds, especially if I'm all the way, here. My, zone where I can drop it is small compared to, I'm dropping it across. I have a wider area to hit.
And where would you want your ball to drop? So some of our viewers may not even know where that would be. Like, where are you hoping to drop?
You want it to drop into the kitchen, preferably where they can't reach forward and reach it. They would have to let it bounce. But this kind of goes back to, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. If my first one is a little high, as long as it's not high to where they can slam it, they're still restricted to hit it like this. So they can't put as much power on it as they could with it overhead. I try to aim for the person's backhand. So like Monica right now is right-handed, so I would be hitting it to the outside. It gets a little complicated when you play with left-handed people on where you'd want to hit it, but I also try to hit it behind the person. So if you're up here, I would aim, back here to where they have to take that step and try to come into it, which is a lot harder to do.
That's the other thing when you're trying to drop it too. A lot of times your natural inclination is I want to hit it so the middle point is like over the net and it falls here. That's not necessarily the case. If you get the apex of the ball, like Sarah was saying, you can hit it high, but if the apex is here, which means it's starting to come down, it doesn't have to be, if you have it up here, it's going to be a slam shot for them to...
It's going to bounce higher.
It's going to bounce higher, but if your apex is on this side of the net, it's going to be on its downhill trajectory and it can land right here in the kitchen, and that's a very hard shot for the other team to attack.
That makes total sense. Yes. For those who haven't tried the third drop shot, in basic, I'm just going to say, you start basic at the baseline. Usually it's third drop because it's third shot because it's the third shot. We're serving it deep, we're deep in it, we're driving it back, and then you're dropping. That's why it's called the drop. You're going to hold your paddle comfortably and face the net. You're going to watch the ball coming, swing with a nice gentle movement. Aim low, like you said, near the feet, and follow through with a complete swing, and finally you're going to reset.
All right, so we're going to play a few points, and we're going to try to implement and execute some of the tips that Brian and Sarah shared with us today.
So watch their stance, watch their returns, and we'll do our best.
We'll do our best.
Oh, start over.
You should have.
That's what happens when I don't
for
warm
this.
up. No, I'm just kidding.
No, okay, go ahead.
All right, here we go. My hands are cold. Oh. Start over.
Redo.
All right, your point, Brian.
That's good, because now she can draw. So since Brian is serving to Chris, you might not be able to see me, but I'm on the line with my in a proper stance position.
And Sarah and I are back. We say 0-0 on 1. Got it. Got it. Good drop, Monica.
Thank you.
Good job.
The pressure.
All right, 0-0-2.
All you. Got it. Got it.
You.
You. You. You.
Ah,
Good job.
Nice, Sarah.
So on that one, Monica popped it up, and this is kind of what I talked about. You know, if you get low, you can a lot of times drive it forward.
You always touch tips with your partner.
especially if you're going home with her.
It helps, especially if you're getting really angry at your partner, then you can, reset. 1, 0, 2.
I got it. Got it.
Got it.
Ah. Okay, normally I would tell Chris that's my ball
Yep.
because I'm
Her
right-handed and a strong side. So when we play together, I usually come over a foot. You
Yep.
might not tell that, but
As you can see, I say got it a lot, and Sarah doesn't listen all the time.
yep.
2, 0, 2.
Ball.
Good serve.
I think the serve was on the wrong side.
I thought, okay.
Was it good?
No.
0, 2, 1.
You. You. Good shot.
Down the middle solves the riddle. If you didn't
That's
see that, she put it right down the middle between us.
Sarah kind of set that up by playing it to the sideline the first couple of shots and opened up that middle.
What's the score? I missed the score.
0, 2, 2.
0, 2, 2. We have 0, they have 2, and I'm the second server.
Got it? Got it.
You. You. Watch it.
Oh, good shot.
Hey, we got one.
Are you
I
okay?
was not scorpioned enough.
Shit, my elbow. 1, 0. No, 1, 2, 2.
Yeah.
You.
Oh, it's out.
Out.
Long.
There, I tried to drive it over them, and I ended up hitting it out.
There you go.
Oh, oops, sorry.
2-1 on 1.
I got it.
Good drop.
So that would be one where my drop wasn't that perfect, but it made Chris kind of decide what to do, and sometimes that's good enough.
3-1 on 1.
You got
I
it.
got it.
You. Oh.
This is when I should have dropped back a little bit,
Monica, were you on your toes?
and I probably was not in the best of positions.
4-1 on 1. Okay. Got it.
I got
You.
it. You. So that was probably a better example, as our drops were not that great to start with. So you basically just keep working at it until we
Until
made
we
it
got
up.
that one.
And
on
if
one
you
there.
notice, they have great communication. I heard a lot of yous. I'm going to stay up because he's right serving to Chris.
5-1 on 1.
You.
Out.
Okay, we'll go to 7, so 2 more points. Normal game will go to 11, but it's cold out, and we still want to get a shot with the kids.
6-1. I think that's 6. 6-1 on 1. Oh,
I
you.
got it.
Good drop.
Still me.
Good drop. Good drop. Got it. You. Up. Good. Good.
Good.
Nice job, ladies.
Thank you.
I think it's me.
On 2. Yep. Try and do more drops.
6, 1, 2.
You.
Okay, Chris.
Still
All
live.
right, here comes the comeback.
You got caught.
I feel like it bounces weird.
1, 6, 1. 1, because we have 1 point, they have 6, and I'm server 1.
Deep.
Got it.
Got
You.
it. Out.
So I know the one thing it took us a long time to learn is if it's gonna go out, to let it go.
Chest
Chest
high, let it fly.
That was our first episode.
1, 6, 2.
Great shot. Down the middle.
Solves the riddle. Episode 2.
Your tips have been helpful. 6-1 on 1.
I got
All
it.
you.
Oh,
Good job.
game.
And that's 7.
That's a short game.
Good game.
Always come to the net, show good.
Good game.
Good sportsmanship.
That was a good
Yep.
job.
Awesome.
Okay, we are now going to real quickly run the boys over. We want to show you how pickleball can be a family event.
Yes.
And the Donaldsons are the best at it, and their kids are going to be amazing. So we're going to get them real quick.
Hey, Lucas,
Zach and Lucas, they're 6.
you got it, Luke.
As you can see, they're not they're
Nice try.
not pro level yet, but we're working
But
on
on the
it.
same note, you can see that
Here
pickleball
you go.
is for all ages.
Now you
It's
remember,
not
you gotta
just
serve it
a
in the other
senior
square,
citizen sport.
the
Look who
brother.
we have out here. Look
You got
at
it,
it.
Serve. Uh-oh, I got it, I got it.
That's you, Luke, man.
Whoa!
Whoa! It's a little too
Lucas
hard,
had a
buddy.
big
Good
breakfast,
job.
didn't he? Do we get a point for that one?
No.
You served it. Switch sides now. You got served to mommy, bud.
Nice serve.
I got it.
You got it, Luke, man. You got it. Get it. Oh.
Good job. Yeah. Go ahead, buddy.
You
It's
got it.
okay.
You ready,
We're just
Zach?
hitting the ball. Oh,
Oh.
we good?
Mom.
All right, I will serve it to Zachary this time. No, stay back here.
All right, be ready to hit it. Get your paddle ready. Oh, mommy served a fast one at you, didn't she?
He's really close to the net.
Back up, Zach.
Good try, good
All
try.
right. Good.
Right.
Well, Brian and Sarah, thank you for coming out today. Boys,
Yep.
thank you for joining us. It was a lot of fun. That's a wrap. Stay with us for just a few minutes and we'll come back to our warm studio and wrap up our holiday edition.
Say Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Oh, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right.
Awesome.
Welcome back to our warm studio. We are excited to share some Christmas ideas that you could undertake for making for all the pickleball enthusiasts in your life.
And in the process, you can recycle some of those old cracked balls that you're going to break during the winter season rather than just throwing them away.
Absolutely. We had so much fun, first of all, making pickleball ornaments. So we spent an evening just using actually things we had on hand and a few, well, cracked pickleballs, obviously.
Yeah.
Spray painted some pickleballs, used some ornament, actually wine markers that we had. And
A lot of stuff you have lying around the house.
Yep.
Think about old Christmas decorations, small little things that you might have.
potpourri.
Yep,
I had some little pieces of potpourri.
And some of these others, I just went to the Dollar Tree and I bought a piece of garland for a couple dollars and it went a long way. If you look at a lot of our balls, and I bought also these bows from the Dollar Tree.
Yep. Had some little agent ornaments that we added to the pickleballs.
And you can see here I made a snowman. Well, what I did was from the Dollar Tree, they had a little 5-pack of, I could have made 5 little felt snowmen. Instead, I took the felt and I could make 4 more of these also for $1.25. You could have 5 pickleball ornaments if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
So that's an
My little
option.
favorite one is just this little silver one with a little wine marker around it. Very simple, but just really fun and festive.
So that, another option if you want to go homemade are our wreaths.
Oh, yes.
So again, I'm a big fan of the Dollar Tree, so I bought this wreath. Now it's $1.25 plus. So the wreath actually cost me $5. But then I had this bow I saved from something else. We put it on.
Yep.
Chris was kind enough to spray paint all our pickleballs, so I put silver pickleballs on, and there you go, a pickleball wreath.
Absolutely. And I had this wreath as a Christmas wreath, and it needed a little something added to it. So we just sprayed some red pickleballs, added that to an existing wreath, and I think it looks much more fun and is really me.
Yeah.
So.
And I'll tell you, I'm not crafty, not artistic in
Same.
any way.
Me either.
And so if we can pull this off, you can too.
Yes.
If you'd rather, though, be in the kitchen,
There you go.
we thought, you know what, pickleballs can't be that too hard to do, or paddles. So
Absolutely.
I came up with the pickleball cookie. It's just a sugar cookie, and what I did was, I should have brought them, but I just took the end of a cup and I rolled out my crisp sugar cookie recipe. I pressed the cup into it, made circles, and then I had a wooden spoon with a rounded edge, and I pressed those in.
Great
and then
idea.
sprinkled it with the sugar, and I put a little extra sugar in the holes so that you could clearly see the pickleball holes.
Yes, absolutely. And I bought a pickleball ornament and shaped some
Cookie
pickleball
cutter.
paddle. Pickleball paddle cookie cutters, and came up with a few cookies that are in the shape of a paddle.
Now, if you're like us, though, and you're way too busy during the holiday season getting ready, and you just say, no, just give me some simple ideas, some inexpensive gifts, and maybe some more pricier gifts, because that's what I want to do, we're going to share that with you. So some of the things we have,
Absolutely. Coffee mug, queen of the pickleball court,
that's my name, Monica.
Monica. Absolutely. Just a small first aid kit. This is a great idea to keep on the pickleball court. If you have any minor injuries, to have this on hand and give to one of your pickleball enthusiasts if they have any small issues on the court.
Pickleball balls are always welcome, and in this time of the year, it seems like most of us have the outdoor balls, but now that we're moving indoors, to get some indoor pickleballs is a really good idea. Always welcome, because we go through a lot of balls. So if you're wanting to get a good gift, you can't go wrong with Onyx or Franklin X30s for the winter season.
Absolutely. Makeup bag. This is a cute little bag I found on Amazon. It's sparkly. I'm not sure if you can see that. And then on the back, love pickleball. So that's a nice little gift. Very inexpensive. And also from my bestie, pickleball, little pickleball notebook. Things to do after pickleball. Love this as well. So.
This was a gift for me, which I love, which a lot of us don't do it, but you really should cover your paddle. These are pretty much in standard size, will fit just about any racket, and it'll cost you less than $10. You can find them for $6, $7 online. So if you're a person who plays pickleball, or you yourself are not currently covering your paddle, a pickleball cover, and you can get them personalized, you can get your name on them, you could just get them a solid color, all kinds of options. And I never even thought of it until I actually got it from my Secret Santa at work, so it's a good idea.
That was a thoughtful gift.
Yes.
Don't forget our Defiance Pickleball Club logoed items. We have a store, an online store that you can order shirts, you can order hoodies, shorts, hats, bags, I think tote bags, children's clothing. So that would be a great gift card for custom tees if you want to give a gift and allow your maybe a friend or family member to buy their own pickleball attire.
You can even go down there and just get $10 gift cards,
Absolutely.
which is a good choice. So we'll post the custom tees link to our store on our website again, so you can have easy access if you want to get something ordered before Christmas gets here.
Perfect.
Other small little items I put in, you know, I have issues. I have stinky feet sometimes. So I have actually 2 sets of these. You open them up. They're deodorizers. When I get home from playing pickleball, I throw them in there, and they keep my shoes from killing my husband.
Cooling towel?
And yes, and cooling towel. We've talked about this before. Again, a very inexpensive item. Wet it, stretch it, and it will cool you down and keep you from passing out sometimes on hot days. But again, you can get a cooling towel for really less than $10 again, or even less than that even.
Absolutely. Pickleball hair don't care. Hats are great items too. You can order hats from Custom Tees or obviously Amazon or your local athletic apparel store. They sell a lot of pickleball items as well. So we have a great selection.
Now, if you say, no, I need to go big,
Yeah.
you know, go big.
Go big or go home.
We have the pickleball ball launcher. There you go. And what this does, and we love it, one of our members has this, and he's so kind to share it with us. He'll even post, hey, I'll be down at the courts at this time if you want to come. This ball launcher oscillates, and it can drop it short, drop it long. So if you just want to practice, and that's the biggest thing with pickleball. A lot of us go play, 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 but to get better, you have to practice. And this is a great machine, and he takes this whole basket, it's full of balls, feeds it into there. So it'd be good if you had some other people with you. This one, it's a battery pack, and he can also plug it right into the electrical system down at the courts. So this is a good choice.
And actually, this belongs to Tony, and Tony has his name and number posted at Kingsbury. And
Yes.
he asked me to share that he is more than willing to work with anyone who's interested in working with him on the pickleball.
Yeah, so if you go down to the signboard, because he had it
Yes.
posted on the outside signboard, I moved it inside
Okay.
so that it stayed nice. So Tony Thompson, some of you may recognize him because he's been one of our ambassadors at the Senior Center.
Oh, great.
So he's been really great.
Yes.
Now if you say, well, I don't know, I'm exhausted, too much pickleball, but I don't want to leave it, you can go on a pickleball at sea cruise.
Woohoo!
This is another good choice. This one is a 4-night cruise leaving from Fort Lauderdale and going around the Bahama area. You can meet new friends, you have open play lessons, and it's on Royal Caribbean, which is my favorite cruise line. So if you're interested in that, you can go to pickleballatseagroupcruise.com. I'm not sure what it's going to run you, but I suggest it's going to be about $8,000 for a couple would be an estimated price. So this is the other high ticket item that I thought you might be interested in.
Some great items for all the people, all your pickleball family and friends that might have an interest in some stocking stuffers or some nice pickleball gifts. Oh, also the towel. Did we mention the towel?
We did not.
Pickleball towel as well. So another pickleball.
Another good choice.
Yep.
Anything pickleball, we think is a good choice. So.
Absolutely, absolutely.
In fact, I heard that some Walmarts are getting some pickleball clothing. So keep your eye out. They've seen it in Napoleon. It might be here. I haven't had a chance to check it out and see, but maybe this coming summer when their summer clothes are out, you might want to check out Walmart. They might have some too.
Oh, that's awesome.
For the budget conscious like me.
That's awesome. Me too.
Yeah.
So I think, are we ready to do the gift?
We are. It is time to draw this winner of this month's winner for our tip of the month. The tip of the month was serve and stay. If you remember, because of the 2-bounce rule, once you serve, you got to cement those feet back of that back line till the ball returns. And so if you were one of those lucky ones who submitted the term stay, you might be winning our next prize.
All right. There you go.
And our winner is Jen Call. Congratulations, Jen.
Awesome.
Jen, wow, I used to call her newbie, but she's not anymore. She's been with us for quite a while.
Yes, she has. She's really improved
Her
too.
game has come along, and we play with her a lot. So, Jen, we will see you on the courts probably tomorrow.
Yes.
And we will give you have gotten your own cooling towel.
Awesome.
And yes, a jar of pickles.
And a jar of pickles.
And I did throw in a bracelet that talks about how great pickleball is. So that's
Awesome.
your gift. My tip of the month for this month is about proper etiquette for calling your side of the court. So remember, if I talked about if you are, when you're playing, if there's a questionable call, the people where the ball lands, that side of the court, you get to make the call. Sometimes you look at each other and you haven't really seen, you're not sure. So my tip is, when in doubt, it's not out. That means you make the call for the other side. So you always give the benefit of the doubt to the other side. When in doubt, it's not out. All right. So I'm going to actually have you make a phrase this month. It's not out. So if you type "it's not out," you too
Could be in the drawing.
Could be in the drawing.
You might win one of the prizes here on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some ornaments to give away.
We've got some great things here. So.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you so much for joining us today and for taking the time here to spend with us. We love pickleball. We want you to love it too. So we hope that you have a safe and healthy holiday season, and we will see you next year.
Don't forget to send us your question and comments. And again, if you say it's not out in our Facebook comment link, you too will enter. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you soon.
Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us.